So having gone through the main joints and then how to assess your squat, now we're going to look at the 3 different types of squats. Just to introduce them, later on we're going to talk about all the considerations and which ones you should choose and all that kind of stuff, but just introduce these 3 main variations that you will have seen in the gym. First one's going to be the high bar squat, so we're going to get Mimi to jump under. As the name suggests, it just means that the bar is set high up on the back. So you'll see a mistake that most people make straight away with the high bar is they think high means as high as you possibly can, and they have it way up here on the neck. Still sitting on the meaty part of the traps and shoulders, so it's comfortable, so you don't need that stupid bar pad. That's only for hip thrusts, don't use it on your squats. This is where we're looking to sit the bar for a high bar. Now, as you can see in Mimi's position here, we've got the elbows pushed back behind the bar and she's able to stay nice and upright. What that means is as we go through the movement, she's just going to stay pretty upright in that as well. We generally break with the knees first for a high bar and the hips will follow, and we're keeping a nice upright torso as we go through. Head's generally pretty neutral as well. Knees are just tracking out over the toes as comfortable based on your stance. Now if we go to a low bar setup, which requires a little bit more mobility, it's a little bit more challenging in terms of position, generally yields more weight, but also creates more fatigue. And you'll see why in a minute. So Mimi's going to move the bar a couple of inches further down her back. Now this is a reasonably modest, let's call it low bar. You will see powerlifters that have it right down on the shoulder blades here, but we're going to do that to Mimi's shoulders today. What you can see straight away before Mimi actually goes into the squat is now she has a bit of a forward lean in her torso. We've preloaded the hip. We're actually going to lead with the hip as we drop into the squat. So almost like an RDL where the hips go back and the knees are going to follow. So it's the exact opposite of what we had with the high bar. That fatiguing element is because we have this forward lean, more demand on the hip also places more demand on the lower back, which creates a greater fatigue demand for this squat. The other considerations is you definitely need more external rotation. You can see Mimi wants to get out of that position as soon as she can. It's not super comfortable, but it is very advantageous to creating a lot of tightness. Most powerlifters will use this squat because you can produce much more force with it than most people in a high bar, unless you're just genetically super gifted with the high bar squat. The last variation, usually for people who can't get their hands behind, like me right now, is the front squat. Mimi's got these in her program at the moment, so she's excellent at them. I'm going to show you 2 different variations of the front squat as well. So if you're using the front squat as an alternative and you just want to bias the knee, so more quad, and a more upright squat that's less fatiguing, that you can build more volume in, that's skill based, then this is the grip that we would use, provided you have the extension in the thoracic and a good elbow position, and obviously demands a lot of external rotation of the shoulder as well. As you can see, Mimi is super upright. She's going to break with the knee, and she's actually going to stay really straight through this whole squat. You can see the forward knee drive is much more dramatic than it was in the low bar. The low bar was a lot of hip back. This is hips under and knees forwards. From an athletic standpoint, if you're looking at increasing, obviously anything vertical, like jumping, this is usually the preferred squat. If you're looking at sprinting or something like that, generally the low bar will be more advantageous for you there. Absolute force production, you'll move the least weight with this one. Obviously high bars mid-range and then the low bars maximal weight. If we get Mimi to rack it one more time. Now, if you do have shoulder issues and that's why you're staying away from those back squat variations, sometimes the front squat can be even worse. So another way you can hold on to this is just get the bar sat on your shoulders and then just have your hands on top of the bar. Does feel a little bit scary the first time. The bar can and will roll back into your neck a little bit, which I don't know, maybe some of you are into that kind of thing, that's fine. But this is an alternative for you if you want to get into the squat and your shoulders just aren't allowing you to right now. The other alternative that I probably put forward is a safety bar in this. It's much more loadable, much safer, much more comfortable than this position, but not every gym has a safety bar. So this is a good alternative if you do want to squat, the shoulders just aren't allowing it. So they're the 3 typical variations of the barbell squat that you'll see in your gym. You probably already have a preference. We're going to unpack them much more detail later on in the content.